For more than 12 years, America didn't see a single EF5 tornado, until one night changed everything. On June 20, 2025, a violent tornado tore across rural North Dakota, ending the longest EF5 drought in modern American history. At first, nobody realized how historic this storm would become. Storm chasers watched a growing funnel in the darkness, believing they were witnessing another powerful tornado. The truth was far more terrifying. This wasn't just another tornado, it would rewrite history. Scientists would later confirm it as America's first official EF5 tornado since the devastating Moore, Oklahoma tornado of 2013. June 20th wasn't just another date. It marked the exact anniversary of North Dakota's legendary 1957 Fargo F5 tornado. That tornado changed tornado science forever. The Fargo disaster became one of the key events that inspired Dr. Ted Fujita to develop the famous Fujita scale used around the world. History has a strange way of repeating itself. Exactly 68 years later, North Dakota once again found itself facing one of the most violent tornadoes ever recorded. The warning signs had been there for days. Meteorologists closely tracked a dangerous weather pattern developing across the northern plains long before June 20th arrived. Every forecast looked more dangerous than the last. Warm, humid air combined with powerful wind shear, creating the perfect environment for long-lived supercell thunderstorms. Then came the forecast that worried everyone. On June 15th, forecasters highlighted a growing risk for severe weather stretching across North Dakota and neighboring states. By June 20th, the atmosphere was fully loaded. Everything needed for violent tornadoes was finally in place, and meteorologists knew the evening could become extremely dangerous. Meanwhile, life continued as normal. Families in the small farming community of Enderlin enjoyed a quiet Friday evening, unaware that disaster was moving towards them. Nearly 190 miles away, the sky was already changing. Towering storm clouds began forming across eastern North Dakota as powerful supercells slowly organized. Then the first official alert was issued. During the afternoon, the Storm Prediction Center released a tornado watch, warning that conditions were becoming increasingly favorable for dangerous tornadoes. Meteorologists knew something big was coming, but not this big. Forecasters expected strong tornadoes with destructive winds, yet no one imagined the storm would soon exceed those predictions. As night fell, the first supercells finally came alive. Across eastern North Dakota, rotating thunderstorms rapidly intensified, setting the stage for one of the most historic tornadoes of the decade. The storms were finally coming to life, and there was no turning back. By early evening, powerful supercells began forming near Jamestown, North Dakota. At first, they remained elevated, but conditions were changing fast. Then something dangerous happened. As the low-level jet strengthened, the storms became surface-based, allowing them to feed directly on warm, unstable air. Meteorologists immediately recognized the warning signs. This was exactly the type of environment capable of producing long-track, violent tornadoes. But before the main tornado formed, several tornadoes had already touched down across eastern North Dakota, proving the atmosphere was becoming increasingly unstable. Storm chasers rushed toward the developing storms. An EF3 tornado struck near Spiritwood, while two EF2 tornadoes formed near Valley City and Fort Ransom, leaving damage behind. Then came the update that changed everything. At 8:15 p.m., the Storm Prediction Center warned that the storms were entering an even more favorable environment for strong tornadoes. The forecast sounded terrifying. Forecasters expected wind speeds between 120 and 150 miles per hour. Even that prediction seemed extreme. But nature had something even worse prepared. The tornado that was about to form would produce winds far beyond those early forecasts. Emergency officials quickly activated response plans. Tornado Watch 448 covered 14 counties as emergency managers urged residents to stay alert throughout the evening. For many families, there were no public storm shelters nearby, no underground bunkers, and no guaranteed place to survive if a violent tornado arrived. Then the night became silent. Across rural North Dakota, darkness covered the fields while thousands unknowingly waited for the storm that would soon make history. Just after 11 p.m., a rotating funnel finally descended from the clouds south of Enderlin, marking the beginning of one of the strongest tornadoes America. At first, the tornado looked surprisingly small, giving storm chasers little indication of what it was about to become. But within moments, the funnel widened dramatically, its rotation intensified, and everyone watching realized they were witnessing something extraordinary. At exactly 11:02 p.m., history quietly began. South of Enderlin, a small rotating funnel finally touched the ground. At first, it looked like an ordinary tornado. But appearances can be dangerously misleading. The tornado started at only EF0 strength, moving across open farmland while slowly pulling more energy from the unstable atmosphere. Storm chasers continued following it from a safe distance. For a few moments, the tornado remained narrow, giving the impression that it might never become a major threat. Then everything changed. Within minutes, the funnel began expanding at an incredible rate. Its rotation became faster, stronger, and far more violent than before. Even experienced storm chasers became alarmed. Lightning flashes revealed a rapidly growing wedge tornado stretching across the dark North Dakota landscape. The tornado was no longer ordinary. Every second it became wider, more organized, and more powerful as it tracked toward Enderlin. Meteorologists watched the radar in disbelief. Velocity scans showed a rapidly strengthening circulation, far stronger than anything forecast earlier that evening. Then the tornado reached its first major target. Around 11:05 p.m., it slammed into the ADM Edible Bean Specialties facility near County Road 136. The damage immediately intensified. Large trees snapped apart within seconds, metal buildings collapsed, and heavy debris scattered across nearby fields. But this was only the beginning. Survey teams would later classify this stage as EF2 damage, proving the tornado was strengthening at an alarming speed. Then came the moment no one expected. Instead of weakening after striking the facility, the tornado entered a phase of explosive intensification. Its circulation grew even larger. Powerful inflow winds pulled more warm, unstable air into the storm, allowing it to strengthen with incredible speed. Storm chasers could barely believe their eyes. The wedge tornado now dominated the horizon, illuminated only by flashes of lightning breaking through the darkness. Residents had almost no visual warning. Because the tornado struck at night, most people never actually saw it coming. They had only weather alerts and the terrifying sound of the approaching winds. Then the storm aimed directly toward critical infrastructure. Moving northeast, the tornado approached the Canadian Pacific-Kansas City Railway line just southeast of Enderlin. Nobody realized what was about to happen. A freight train had stopped on the tracks, completely unaware that one of the strongest tornadoes in American history was only moments away. The tornado continued gaining strength. Its winds were now far beyond normal tornado intensity, producing forces capable of moving objects weighing hundreds of thousands of pounds. Then came the impact. Within seconds, the massive circulation slammed directly into the freight train with unimaginable force. What happened next would completely change the tornado's official rating months later. The evidence left behind at the railway would shock engineers, meteorologists, and wind experts across North America. The freight train never had a chance. As the tornado slammed into the railway, thousands of tons of steel were suddenly caught inside one of the most violent wind fields ever recorded. Then the impossible happened. Massive railcars began lifting off the tracks as if they weighed nothing, shocking even experienced storm chasers watching from a distance. This wasn't normal tornado damage anymore. An empty tanker car weighing nearly 72,000 pounds was thrown almost 475 feet through the air before crashing back to the ground. But that wasn't the most unbelievable part. Fully loaded grain hopper cars, each weighing around 286,000 pounds, were tipped over like children's toys. Meteorologists knew immediately. Only an extremely violent tornado could generate enough force to move something that heavy. The tornado had reached its maximum strength. Survey teams would later determine that the storm had intensified into an EF5, with winds exceeding 210 miles per hour. Some experts believed it was even stronger. Wind engineer Timothy Marshall later estimated that winds may have approached 266 miles per hour to produce the damage seen at the railway. For comparison, those wind speeds are faster than a Formula One race car traveling at full speed. But unlike a race car, these winds had no driver, no brakes, and no control, only raw, unstoppable destruction. The tornado kept moving northeast. A nearby communication tower collapsed instantly, cutting off important communications across parts of the region. Then the farmland disappeared beneath the storm. Fields that had taken months to grow were shredded within seconds as debris filled the night sky. The tornado left almost nothing untouched. Trees snapped like matchsticks, heavy equipment was tossed aside, and every passing minute revealed even greater destruction. People could only listen. Because the tornado struck in complete darkness, many families couldn't see the danger, they could only hear the deafening roar growing closer. Then the storm aimed toward another group of homes. Residents had followed every warning they received, taking shelter and hoping their homes would survive. But against an EF5, even doing everything right could not guarantee survival. The next few minutes would become the most heartbreaking moments of the entire disaster. The tornado was now heading straight toward occupied homes. Inside one house, Michael and Catherine Dane, both 73 years old, had spent their entire lives in this quiet farming community. When the emergency warnings arrived, they did exactly what they were supposed to do. But sometimes, even perfect preparation isn't enough against nature's greatest power. Within seconds, the EF5 tornado struck their home with unimaginable force. The house was completely destroyed. When rescue teams finally reached the area, Michael and Catherine had tragically lost their lives. Just a short distance away, another resident, 89-year-old Marcario Lucio, faced the same violent tornado. His home stood directly in the storm's path. The powerful winds reduced the structure to nothing but scattered debris. Marcario Lucio did not survive. 3 lives, taken in only a matter of minutes. But the tornado still wasn't finished. Leaving the homes behind, it continued across open farmland with the same terrifying intensity. Then something happened that stunned investigators. Instead of simply knocking down trees, the tornado completely erased an entire section of forest. This wasn't ordinary wind damage. Massive trees were snapped to their stumps, while others were ripped completely out of the ground with their roots exposed. Some trees simply disappeared. Investigators later discovered that several had been carried so far they couldn't even determine where they had originally stood. The bark told another frightening story. Flying debris traveling at incredible speed stripped bark completely off hundreds of trees, leaving smooth, bare trunks behind. Experts immediately recognized the pattern. This kind of tree damage is seen only in the most violent tornadoes ever documented. The landscape had become almost unrecognizable. Fields, roads, power lines, and forests had all been transformed into a path of destruction stretching for miles. Then, just as suddenly as it had formed, the monster finally began to weaken. Near the town of Alice, the circulation slowly collapsed before lifting back into the clouds. After only 19 minutes on the ground, the tornado was gone. But it had carved a path more than 12 miles long, reached over a mile in width, claimed 3 lives, and left an entire community forever changed. By midnight, rescue crews were already racing into the darkness, unaware that the full scale of the disaster was only beginning to unfold. As dawn broke over North Dakota, the true scale of the disaster finally became clear. Rescue teams searched through destroyed homes while families waited for news of their loved ones. The entire community came together. Firefighters, police officers, medical teams, and volunteers worked side by side, searching every damaged property and helping survivors however they could. Then investigators arrived. At first, the National Weather Service rated the tornado as an EF3 based on the initial damage survey. But something didn't add up. The destruction left behind, especially the freight train, the uprooted forests, and the completely destroyed homes, suggested the tornado had been far more powerful. Months of investigation followed. Meteorologists worked with wind engineers and damage experts, carefully analyzing every piece of evidence along the tornado's path. Then came the historic announcement. On October 6, 2025, the National Weather Service officially upgraded the Enderlin tornado to EF5, making it the first EF5 tornado in the United States since Moore, Oklahoma, in 2013. A 12-year drought had finally ended. The tornado also became only the third officially rated EF5 tornado in North Dakota's history, making it one of the state's most significant weather events ever recorded. But behind every statistic, there were real people. 3 families lost loved ones. Homes disappeared forever, and a peaceful farming community was changed in only 19 minutes. Yet hope never disappeared. More than 150 volunteers joined cleanup efforts, neighbors helped neighbors recover what they could, and local communities proved that compassion is stronger than any storm. The tornado destroyed buildings. But it couldn't destroy the spirit of the people who stood together afterward. The Enderlin EF5 will always be remembered, not only for its incredible power, but also for the courage, resilience, and unity shown in the days that followed. Because every storm eventually ends. But the way people help each other through the darkness is what history remembers forever.